All right, let's do this. The final episode of Loki came out a week ago, I think. I know I'm a bit late, but let's do this anyways. Let's finish this off and move on to next movies and TV shows after this. So, first thing first, yes, the name's Dash, and I'm here to talk about Loki episode 6, which is for all time, always. And yes, this video will contain spoilers, so please watch the show before you watch this video. And I'm going to first start off with the fact that the villain, I mean, he was quite predictable. I think we all knew who the villain was going to be, and that was none other than Kang the Conqueror. Although this is a very tricky one because we thought it was Kang the Conqueror, but then in the beginning of the movie, Miss Minutes, the orange clock character, comes in and says, "He who remains is waiting for you," to both the Lokis, and He who remains is actually another villain, super villain in the Marvel comics. However, the actor who plays He Who Remains in this episode is played by Jonathan Majors, who's supposed to be Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man 3, which is called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So this was a very tricky one, but I think this was Kang the Conqueror, and a very interesting backstory, to be honest. What I've noticed, given the fact that Jonathan Majors, he comes in like this, and with his apple, nothing, no aggression, no violence, nothing. He just comes in with his apple in his hand, and then tries to talk to the Lokis. But then like Sylvie, she just has to kill Kang. She's just so desperate to kill Kang, and then we see like Kang disappear all of a sudden, just as which is a very interesting superpower, I guess. He just so like how the characters would use the temp pad to teleport to different places, like in the previous episode we saw how Sylvie teleports to different timelines with a temp pad. Similarly, Kang can do that, but without any temp pad. Just very interesting to see, with no violence, but that's really his main superpower, just escaping from danger, using those teleportation powers. But the next point would be how his performance was, the way he explains the backstory. I mean, a huge chunk of the episode was Kang the Conqueror explaining his story, like how he was like brought to existence, and how he created a sacred timeline which he controls. And yes, he's also the one who's behind the TVA too, which I think we all knew anyways. So he talks about how he kills all the other Kangs from different dimensions. Some of them were really worse. Some of them were even more violent than him, or were much more harsher than him, which is interesting to know. And then finally, the final scene is where both the Lokis are fighting against each other. They're not fighting against Kang, but fighting against each other to decide whether he should live or die. So Sylvie wants Kang dead, whereas Loki wants Kang to live, so that he can take over his place, and that way the timeline doesn't get reset. But then Sylvie is the one who gets upper hand at the end. She pushes Loki off. Interestingly, before she pushes him off, she gives him a kiss, which was very interesting. That means there really is something going on in between them. It has been confirmed that something is going on between them. So I guess we're going to see a bit of that in season 2, I think, because there's also going to be season 2, which I'll be coming to later. However, the episode ends with her killing Kang. So Sylvie gets the upper hand, kills Kang, and then Kang, once he dies, like he said, the timeline is going to be reset. And this is where the most interesting scene comes in, and that is when different timelines are built, different alternate timelines are created, which means there's going to be a multiverse. And multiverse means there's going to be new characters, I think, such as X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four. I'm looking forward to that, I have to be honest. And to be honest, the episode, I think it was a great way to end it. A lot of questions to be answered in the second season, like how's gonna well, even before the second season, but because they're gonna be movies based on the multiverse, which Loki just created. The final scene of the Loki show just created, and as we all know, there's a movie called Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, which is gonna explore the multiverse more. Apparently, even in Spider-Man: Far From Home, it's possible that Tom Holland is gonna meet the other Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield from the previous Spider-Man franchises. Looking forward to that. Hopefully that happens. But yeah, a lot of exciting things to happen now, and now that the multiverse has been created, I believe. And a great way to really end the show. Not so disappointing, but not really the most impressive episode, I would say. That'll probably be episode 4. But nonetheless, I still like this episode. Great way to end it. I liked it how, like Owen Wilson's character as Mobius and the T-15, sorry, the B-15 agent, I think. I think how they're gonna how they had no idea who Tom Hiddleston Loki was anymore, and now he's gonna have to reintroduce himself, I think, or they might go on a different journey without having to know each other very well in the second season. But I think I've talked enough about what might happen in second season. Now I guess it's just time to find out once second season comes out. But that's all I have for this episode. Tell me your thoughts about this episode if you watched it. And until the next movie or show which I'm going to review, I'll see you next time.